my videos build upon one another. That said, it is an explanation, or it speaks to the fact that if you are within this wave, you should be resonating. If you we're on that same vibe, we share the same wavelength. It all should be making, well, not all of it, but most of it should make sense to you. You might skip a few videos here and there, but anywho, let's go ahead and let's dive right in about what I would like to discuss, which is the fact that positive vibes, positive energy, positive attitudes and approaches alone are not enough. And if you've seen recent videos, specifically the transformation video I have up that talked about changing attitude and approach, ultimately your lives, that's not enough. I've been led that some of you think that I'm just talking about thinking afterthoughts, and that's not what's on the mind. Yo. So, welcome. I am Miss Brittany, teacher. This is my channel, and I am here to share my gifts with the collective. Alright? So, just a heads up, you can come to my channel at any time and find videos that are free to the collective with downloads, updates, and advice. I do all my videos live. I don't have a set schedule, primarily because in addition to these, I do have a for-profit and non-profit company. So I'm super busy. So you'll find that I've put videos done, that I put out in batches, and I do live streams in batches. And then also on top of that, there's just no telling what the universe is going to lead me to share with the collective. But to make sure you get my videos, subscribe and hit the notifications bell, and you'll be notified of when I am on. Alright? So, before we go ahead and dive in, let's take a look at what we're listening to. This is a live stream here on YouTube. It is Morning Coffee Jazz Radio, 24/7 live stream, uplifting jazz, and more for a perfect day. This is on my personal list of live streams that I listen to while I work. It's not subscribed to here because I'm not logged in. But if you look here, it's Luke Herman, okay? Anywho, this has been streaming since November 23rd. Isn't that awesome? Anywho, let me go ahead and stop the stream so we can go ahead and dive in. Check out this channel if you're like me and you like jazz, alright? So, let's dive in. Before we dive in, you know I have to put this out to you guys. I may not resonate with you. Some of you may not even be twin flames. I've discovered quite a few people who, I don't, you know what, I'm not going to even say that because it's not for me to validate. I do feel led to share that if you are one of the people who knew all of that were the fact, quite honestly, that you look at what it is you're going through, because as they say, it's a different point. And so it may be that if my videos don't resonate with you, it may not be because you're not a twin flame. You just may be in a different wave, okay, than who I've been led to share with, which is ultimately the people who are in my same wave. If you find that, 1, 2, maybe even 3 videos don't resonate with you, please expect that. My videos are for the collective. Even if they are geared towards specific signs, that specific message may not be for you in that moment. It may not be that it's just not for you at all. It may be for you based on something in the past. The message may be coming to you too late, or also the message may be coming for you early, in that it won't be relevant for you for a few days, weeks, months, whatnot. So keep that in mind. But if you do find that, I would say more than 3 videos don't resonate with you within a certain amount of time, flat out, no harm, no foul. I may not be for the teacher for you. There are different teachers on here for different waves, different portions of the collective, and just as you're on this journey with your twin, you may need to take that journey and look, or you may need to go on a journey to find the teacher that resonates for you. If I am not the willing is not enough. You must do. Okay, I'm going to read that one more time. Before I read that, if you have not seen the transformation videos, part 1 and 2 that I've put up, go look at those, because again, you will find that my videos, because I channel and I have the universe speak directly through me, I want you to know that the video should succinctly make sense. Not saying that all of them will require you to go back and like start at video 1, but this is one of those situations where I think it's really important that you go back and look at that transformation video, part 1 and 2. If you are an air sign, I just a few minutes ago put up a video piggybacking off of that transformation video that is equally as important. You don't have to watch it at this minute, but if you're an air sign, go and take a look at that video. So let's take a look at this quote. If you've seen that transformation video, great. I want you to think about it while I reread this. If you haven't seen the transformation video before I start rereading this, I want you to stop this video and go watch that one. So, with the general purpose and message of that transformation video, or the transformation videos in mind, let's look at this quote. Knowing is not enough. You must apply. Willing is not enough. You must do. And actually, you know what? It just made me think again how I said I put out a video with literally a few minutes ago for my air signs. This is applicable to you guys especially as well, because in the video for the air signs, we talked about how you guys literally are having a tough time even being open. Like, you're not taking any action, and you know what needs to be done. Other members of the collective may not know what needs to be done, but my air signs definitely know what needs to be done, specifically related to a missed, most likely professional opportunity. But so, anyways, let's go ahead and let's keep this in our mind as we look at what I have for you today in this moment, which is the fact that positive vibes are not enough. Recently, as was just noted, we talked about a missed opportunity. Pretty much everyone in this wave, as part of the Twin Flame Collective, is dealing with a missed opportunity. Most likely it's professional. This message is for everyone in the collective who this resonates with, and not a particular sign if you've had that missed opportunity. Flat out, you have frustration that, while the missed opportunity does not have to do with your connection to your twin, the frustration with that missed opportunity and just frustration with other aspects of your life, it is spilling over into your twin flame connection. And this is a really pivotal point that you cannot have that happen. And I know you might be like, well, why? Especially when most of you are feeling disconnected from your twin to begin with. But let's look at a few different points here. Again, the frustration that you are primarily happening is a frustration that has to do with a recent missed opportunity that most likely is professional, okay? That frustration is either making you frustrated with your twin flame connection, kind of like, sometimes like when you don't deal with issues and you just kind of let them bottle up and fester, you become really frustrated with other things, even if it's not as bad as you might think it is. Could be that type of situation, or if that's not the situation, what's going on is it's indirectly having an impact on your connection with your twin flame, because you were in a negative state, and that negative state has maybe caused you, if you were someone who, let's say, meditates, maybe as a result of being frustrated, you're no longer meditating. Maybe as a result of you being frustrated, you are not honoring your temple by putting any and everything in your body. Particularly, I feel like some of you may have turn back to some form of an addiction, maybe not to the same extent that you had before, but that is either looking like an attractive option, or some of you have maybe dibbled and dabbled, and if you don't stop yourself, you're going to find yourself going back down the road you had worked really hard to get yourself off of. I kind of feel like just even like with shopping for my divine feminines here, I feel like some of you may be overindulging financially and shopping and splurging, and just again really just not giving a hoot. Um, either way, whatever it is, in some way that frustration, either directly or indirectly, is impacting your twin flame connection. And I some of you who may have listened to my transformation videos, or not, you may know that positivity is needed because you're really in this negative, downtrodden state where you're just feeling like everyone else has it easier, or no one cares, or well, why can't I? So and so can, or why did they get the job? Why did this go well for them? Why could they lose the weight really fast and I tried and I only lost a pound, or whatever this situation is, you need to be positive about it. But here's the thing. I feel like some of you feel like just being positive is going to be enough. That's absolutely not going to be enough. You have to recognize that your frustrations are impacting the connection. And that is why a lot of you are feeling a lack of being connected to your twin. Now, most of you were feeling this lack of connection before this missed opportunity occurred. But the missed opportunity and the associated frustration intensified that quote unquote lack of connection. And you're like, well, how, Miss Brittany, how can you have an intensified lack? Let me give you an example. So let's say maybe you were in a space before the missed opportunity where you could feel the emotions of your twin, or you could hear the thoughts of the twin. You could I feel like most of you, it has to do with feeling, whether emotionally or physically. You were in a space where you could feel them, even in this state of being disconnected. However, once that frustration spilled over, what started happening is you essentially got to a point where you can't even feel them anymore. Most of you have questions. Well, not maybe most, but some of you have questions because most of you have been in too much looking at this missed opportunity and this recent disappointment, not to say to care, but you've been so focused on that you on changing your current situation around, that you really haven't had time to look at what's been going on with your twin flame connection. Most of you have assumed that the feeling, this feeling of lack has come as a result of maybe you making a conscious decision to move on, because that is a really big thing going on right now, especially since you've been in separation or had little to no contact for so long. But essentially, most of you have said, you know what, I'm feeling this lack because of the fact that I've got so much going on and I'm shutting it off. And you have shut it off, but not in the way that you thought you shut it off. Okay. But you have to get through this transformation, because keep in mind, you're not just going through a transformation within your career. You're not just going through a personal transformation. This transformation period that you're going through, that will last approximately through the end of this month, in terms of like you really feeling the effects of this going on. For some of you, it may extend into June, but for a majority of you, you're really going to feel the effects of this transformation through the end of this month. You essentially have to find, I've got so many thoughts in my mind, like coming and going, but what I really feel led to share is that you have to find a way, okay, to really understand the fact that what's going on with you during this transformation is bigger than you. This transformation is a transformation for your divine partnership as well. Okay, we are literally on a cusp, you guys. We're on the cusp of something great. We're on the cusp of union. Um, I I will get into it in another video because I didn't have I do have another channeling that I have to share where essentially if there is karmic in this situation, um, it is either no more for like 90% of you, the karmic is no more. For the 10% that are still with the karmic, not you, most of you are no longer with the karmic. You don't even have a desire to be with anyone else. Again, you're dealing so much with what's going on with you personally. But your divine masculine or feminine, most of, well, if you're a man, most likely you have a divine feminine energy. And your counterpart has a divine masculine energy, regardless of your actual physical sex. But most of the ones who are that 10% that are leaving, that are still with their karmic, they are actually leaving the karmic. And essentially, whether the karmic knows about you directly, they may know literally about you, or they may know that the energy that they have with the divine masculine is no more, and they know that his energy is elsewhere, and she is in a place of mourning over that. But I will get into that in another video. But anyways, so looking at this time of transformation and what's going on, I know that many of you have other things that they almost seem like a test of with everything that's going on around you. How are you committed to maintaining this connection, especially with most of you going through this point of feeling like, you know what, I'm done, I'm walking away. He has a choice. I hear free will for many of you. He has free will to be with the karmic or to have chosen a karmic. I have free will to be with someone else as well. I get that, but you have to choose in your free will. You have to. This is the test for you to see, will you choose your divine counterpart, despite what you're going through, despite the disappointment, despite the frustration. Will you make that choice? Is your love unconditional? Remember, this is all about unconditional love. Are you saying, well, because he or she did this to me, and they led me on for X amount of months or years, or they've chosen for someone else for, X amount of months or years, then I'm just going to make the choice. I'm going to make them I'm going to make him feel how he's made me feel. I want to see him suffer. I want to see him, especially some of you, again, most of you have had no contact that I'm talking to, but some of you have had at least one bit of contact within the last month. If you have had any type of contact, again, but most of you have not that I'm talking to. And, especially if you did have that contact, after that contact, you're saying, you know what, I want to make him hurt. He hurt me. I want to make him. But this is a test. Will you pass the test? Are you loving with conditions? Do you only want him if he has always chosen you? That is a condition. You have to be honest with yourself. You have got to fight, because we are on the precipice. We are on the precipice of union. And you are either going to make it or you're not going to. And if you don't learn your lesson now, you are either going to have to continue to learn it through this lifetime, or, my friend, you are going to come back in another life and continue to learn it. Why not learn it now? Okay? But being in this physical separation, let's kind of get back to the point at hand. You have to find a way to reignite the passion with yourself, because your twin flame is not around, and especially because they're physically not around, but more so because you're feeling disconnected from them. The only way you're going to reignite that feeling of being connected and that passion is going to be to do it with yourself. That's going to look different for everybody. Maybe you've been so focused, again, on dealing with this recent missed opportunity or recent frustrations and tragedies and disappointments and letdowns and shortcomings and what a seeming stream of failures that you haven't had time to take time to pamper yourself. And I don't mean for some of you who have gone out, as I've talked about earlier, on this spending money unnecessarily that you really don't have, taking your light bill money to go shopping because it makes you feel better in that moment because you're dealing with so much hurt. I'm not talking about that, but the pampering of getting back into your meditation, your praying. Maybe you've let other relationships go with family and friends because, again, not because you've been focused on your twin, but because you've been so focused on trying to heal from whatever has been disappointing you. You've been trying to lick your own wounds, but you've been doing it in a way that has been detrimental. Find a way. Where there is a will, there is a way. What you have been doing is not working, okay? So you need to look within and you have to say, okay, what can I do that I have not been doing to make myself feel passionate? And I don't mean passionate necessarily about your twin, because if you go straight for that, that's not going to work. You need to reignite your passion for yourself, for life. Maybe you are a creative individual and you love to draw or sing, play the guitar, play drums, or whatever it is that serves as a creative outlet for you. Get back into that and reignite your passion, reignite your creativity, reignite your love for yourself. If you have let yourself go physically, reignite your passion by making a goal to maybe get back to a certain weight. Maybe if you've gotten in the habit of leaving the house in sweatpants and a ponytail, get back into the habit of starting small and putting on some lipstick when you leave and just go from that. You know what I mean? Like the possibilities are endless, and it is going to be an individual thing as to what reignites your passion for self and for life. If you do this for your twin, it's not going to work. First and foremost, because you're not feeling connected. Most of you, you literally cannot feel your twin. You cannot feel the connection like you did. And it's so weird because for many of you, like a month ago, you had an experience where you literally felt your twin. And that had been happening. It's been happening off and on throughout the connection, but it really had happened around November of last year through the past month. Off and on, you would literally been feeling your twin, and you can't do it anymore. And the only way you're going to get back to that is not to say, well, how can I feel him? How can I feel her? What can I do to make them notice me? No, it has to start with self. And that's how you will get back to that state of connectedness. But you better do it quick and in a hurry, because you don't have much time. You really don't. Everyone is going to have the opportunity for union at different points, but like union again is right here and it's on the precipice. And I'm not saying that if you don't walk through the door, it will be closed forever, but there's no telling how long it will be until that door is open for you again. And there's nothing wrong, and I want to say this, there's nothing wrong if you choose not to walk through the door of union at this time, because as we've already talked about, you have free will, you have a choice. However, you don't know if that door is going to reopen in this lifetime or the next. Okay? You also don't know if you are in a position to decide and your twin is willing to choose to walk through it as well right now. You don't know what their choice will be next time. So you don't know how much longer you are going to prolong this. I'm not saying this to try and scare you to desire union if that's deeply not within you. If it's not within you, you really shouldn't be watching this to begin with. Because I literally only want to connect with those who desire the union, okay? In addition to finding ways to connect with yourself and to reignite that passion within yourself,
I did note how, for many of you, you have let other relationships in your life go, particularly with family and friends. Either you have completely removed yourself from their lives, or when you are around them, if you are, you're not present in that moment. You're maybe on the phone dealing with catastrophes, or maybe you're not on the phone, but your mind is thinking about that missed opportunity, or thinking about all the fires you have to put out around you. You have to remain present, and you've got to find a way to connect to those around you. But you need to do it in a way that protects your twin flame connection. Because I do know that some of you, particularly, well, for all of us as twin flames, this can be a fairly lonely journey. We are going through an experience that not everyone understands or goes through, whether at all or in this lifetime. And you find yourself in situations where you can't necessarily talk to other people and get that advice. You can't call your girlfriend up and say, well, hey, well, I'm still thinking about so and so, but we haven't talked in 6 months. Either if you have, you find that people are like, oh my gosh, girl, why are you even still tripping off of him or talking off of him? Especially if they see that he has quote unquote moved on by social media or whatever the case might be. They might know him in person. Many of you, again, so you've either gotten to a point where you just don't tell anybody about how you're feeling, or if you do tell people about you in most cases end up feeling worse because they just don't understand. Some of you are going through with you are having almost this urge to talk to someone about what's going on because you're feeling so frustrated. I would advise against that, especially if you know that they don't understand or they're not going through this experience. But whatever you do, if you do decide to share your frustrations, particularly about your twin, you need to protect the connection. And the best way for you to protect the connection, especially because you're feeling disconnected, you're feeling frustrated, and that frustration is already impacting the connection. The last thing you want to do is tell someone about the frustrations you have, particularly about your twin, and then have them put more negative thoughts in your mind, which I referenced. I don't know if I referenced it in this video or another video about how some of you were having a person. It wasn't in the transformation video when I was talking about somebody is actively working against you. That is specifically in reference to the missed opportunity and not necessarily your twin flame connection. But you don't want to put yourself in a position where you're already feeling down and then you have people in your ear, girl, let me tell you, you need to leave him alone. I told you 6 months ago. I told you a year ago. You don't need that right now. So the best way to protect your connection is to just leave it sealed and shut and work on it from within. Okay. When it comes to this transformation, again, most of you are feeling disconnected, and I want you to recognize that. Not saying that we all share the same experience, and not saying this to validate your experience, but I'm saying this to let you know that it's okay. Most people who are within this wave, who are twin flames, are feeling disconnected from their twin. But again, it's not necessarily because of the, well, I'm not going to say it's not because of the lack of communication, because that does play a role into it. But the other things that are going on in your life are intensifying that feeling of being disconnected. But again, that lack of communication definitely does play a role in it. But you have to do your best at all costs to stay connected. And again, you might ask, well, how do I stay connected if they are physically not around? Or how do I stay connected if they won't answer my calls, if they don't respond to texts, if they blocked me? How you do that is to connect with yourself. Period. When you connect with yourself, they will feel that connection. Because let me tell you what's going on. Keep in mind that your twin is a mirror, okay? So even when you are going through something, it's not that they're going through that exact same thing, they may be having a similar experience to learn that same lesson, or they may be um, going through that same thing but from a different perspective. So while you may be frustrated with everything, um, with a missed opportunity, so to say, um, they on the other hand may not have a missed opportunity. I'm not saying this is the case. This could be the case. They could have an opportunity that came along. They got the opportunity, but they're frustrated because it's not what they thought it was. It's just an example. Most people are feeling confused. That's normal. But through this confusion, maintain what I've told you and try to remain connected through the confusion. I'm going to end it here. You guys have a great